Our story begins with Koo Guillaume, a young man who grew up in a video rental store. Orphaned at a young age, he was raised by his older brother June, alongside the kind store owner. While other kids played outside, Guillaume found his world in movies, dreaming of watching every film ever made. As he grew older, his passion evolved. With a handsome face and unwavering confidence, Guillaume decided to become an actor. His two best friends, Hongi and Jua, watched him practice ridiculous poses, with Jua joking he'd make a better comedian. At 26, Guillaume attended an audition that revealed the gap between dreams and reality. The director was impressed until Guillaume's resume showed his supporting roles were merely background extras lying around for seconds. He even demonstrated these performances before casually saying he needed to go cook and asking them to call him back. The confidence was admirable, if misplaced. But everything changed when Guillaume met Han Muyong at that audition. It was destiny at first sight. Unlike Guillaume, Muyong hated movies with a passion. Her father, a dedicated film crew member, constantly chose work over family. Every broken promise, every missed outing, every lonely childhood moment made young Muyong resent cinema. When her father passed away too early, she finally watched one of his films and understood his passion, though the pain remained. Now she worked on film sets not to honor him, but to prove how pathetic it was to abandon family for art. Guillaume accidentally took the director's shoes home, which gave him opportunities to work on set as an extra. His enthusiasm and helpfulness made him beloved by the crew, but Muyong found him insufferable. He was everywhere, always cheerful, constantly in the way. Fate kept bringing them together. At a friend's wedding, where Guillaume was the MC and Muyong was filming, they reconnected. He suggested they work weddings together, but she brushed him off. During a film shoot far from the city, both Guillaume and Muyong missed the crew van and ended up stranded together at a bus stop, eating corn until evening. Guillaume asked why she wanted to work in film. Muyong revealed she wanted to create a romantic movie, which made Guillaume cough excitedly, though she thought he was mocking her. On the bus ride home, Guillaume sat beside her, claiming he was scared to sit alone. Muyong fell asleep crying, remembering her father. Despite her walls, something was shifting. One night, after being hit on by a senior colleague, Muyong stepped outside. Guillaume followed, offering to always be nearby in case she needed help. He asked if she'd stay by his side if he told her all his secrets. As if possessed, Muyong pulled him close and kissed him passionately. But the next day marked the beginning of their separation. Guillaume's brother June had an accident and fell into a near vegetative state. Guillaume disappeared from the film set, quitting everything to care for his brother. He couldn't even contact Muyong to explain. 5 years passed. Muyong became a successful film director, though her movies were commercial rather than the romantic films she once dreamed of. She tried to forget Guillaume, but couldn't. Meanwhile, Guillaume had become a famous online film critic and blogger, reviewing movies while working multiple jobs to pay for his brother's medical care. June had recovered enough to move, but still needed support. When they finally met again at a Q&A session, Muyong was angry and confused. Why had he abandoned her? Guillaume reconnected with his old friends. Hongi was running the store owner's bar, which had been renovated from the old record shop. Jua had become a screenwriter, and seeing her name in magazines still hurt him. Director Ma, who Guillaume had worked with before, punched him lovingly when they reunited, complaining about how much the crew missed his annoying presence. At Director Hong's commemorative ceremony, Guillaume and Muyong met again. The tension was palpable. When Muyong's assistant called Guillaume the rude jerk from the interview, embarrassment filled the air. In an incredible twist of fate, Guillaume and his brother moved into the house directly across from Muyong. She was furious, thinking he was stalking her, but Guillaume's brother had chosen the location. Guillaume didn't know how to explain the coincidence, so he acted childishly, giving rice cakes to everyone except her, pretending not to see her on the bus, racing her during jogs. These silly antics were his way of avoiding confrontation until he could find the right words. Through accidental observations, both began seeing each other differently. Muyong played with neighborhood kids and helped elderly women. Muyong's childhood friend Jung Ho returned from America. She had once protected him from bullies, and now he cherished her deeply. This made Guillaume intensely jealous. When Jung Ho came looking for childhood toys in Guillaume's apartment, Guillaume deliberately sent him to the wrong location. After Muyong got drunk at a bar, Guillaume secretly followed to protect her. Residents mistook him for a stalker and called the police. At the station, Muyong sobered up and rescued him, finally demanding to know why he'd never apologized for disappearing. Guillaume looked at her sincerely and said he was sorry, but still couldn't explain why he'd left. Muyong was furious. She declared they should avoid each other from now on. Muyong met Jua, the screenwriter who'd written an excellent script based on her real-life romance with Hongi. Initially, Jua refused to cooperate, feeling that exposing their story would betray her ex. But eventually she agreed, hoping to create something meaningful from their pain. Jua approached Hongi about composing music for the film. He was bitter about their unexplained breakup, but his passion for music won out. He agreed to work on the project. Guillaume partnered with a media company to become a professional film critic. His reviews were sharp and honest, gaining him fame but also enemies. When a director he had harshly criticized attempted suicide, public opinion turned against him viciously. Director Ma worried about him, but another director at a gathering openly attacked Guillaume, calling him thick-skinned and accusing him of pushing his colleague to the edge. Muyong couldn't stand it and pulled Guillaume away. He thought even she blamed him, but Muyong was disappointed for a different reason. She'd only wanted to comfort him, but he'd been too absorbed in his own pain to notice. After visiting the recovering director, who clarified that Guillaume's review had nothing to do with his hospitalization, Muyong found Guillaume in the hospital lobby. He said he was waiting for something good to happen. Exhausted, Muyong fell asleep beside him. Guillaume smiled because his good thing was always Muyong. When his car's wiper broke in the rain, she'd appeared with an umbrella. Every bad moment had her silver lining. When Muyong woke, Guillaume had rushed off to get her a blanket. She grabbed his wrist, and he immediately returned to his teasing self, confessing he wanted to like her again. Muyong remembered 5 years ago, how Guillaume had secretly slipped snacks into her bag, switched seats so she could sleep on the bus, covered her with his jacket during naps, and waited all night in a snowstorm just to take her home. When she'd asked why he was so nice, he'd simply said, "Because I like you." Now, faced with his second confession, she kicked his leg and told him not to talk nonsense. Despite her protests, Guillaume slowly broke through Muyong's walls. He created accidental meetings, at street corners eating pizza, barbecuing in his yard, watching classic films together. Every encounter was carefully planned to make her happy. Muyong finally asked Guillaume to meet her. They drove to a field of blooming daisies where the car broke down. She admitted she'd guessed his brother was the reason he'd disappeared. Looking at him sincerely, she confessed, "I've liked you for a very long time." Guillaume didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, hugged her tightly, and kissed her. They were officially together. Guillaume's brother's health declined. His heart and lung function were weakening, and death loomed close. While Guillaume found love, Hongi and Jua struggled with their complicated feelings. They tried dating again, reminiscing about their 7-year relationship, but the pain remained. Jua admitted she'd done many things she didn't like just to please Hongi, but he'd never truly cared about her feelings. His music dream and ego always came first. Hongi realized she was right. He'd been desperate to return to the past instead of building a future. Guillaume's brother grew worse, frequently fainting. When he suggested taking a trip together, Guillaume understood he was preparing for death. Angrily, Guillaume accused his brother of only thinking about his own feelings, not considering whether Guillaume could handle losing him. His brother couldn't answer, but Guillaume's eyes were firm. No matter how many times death knocked, he would fight to keep his brother alive. Reading his brother's diary later, Guillaume discovered the truth. After their parents died, June had contemplated suicide until young Guillaume grasped his hand, crying, "Brother." That moment gave June reason to live. Every sacrifice, every parent-teacher meeting, every moment of Guillaume's childhood, his brother had cherished them all. Despite Guillaume's determination, death came anyway. His brother passed away from his illness. The promised vacation to Hollywood would never happen. Outwardly, Guillaume seemed fine, still talking about movies, still dating, still joking. But Muyong noticed the light had left his eyes. He couldn't go home, sleeping in his car instead because the empty house was unbearable. Muyong found him sleeping in the car and quietly got in without judgment. She simply stayed by his side. The next day, when Guillaume still couldn't enter the house, she pushed inside and brought out pillows and personal items. She announced she'd be staying at his place for a while. That evening, during a power outage, Muyong held Guillaume in the darkness and whispered, "You're never alone. At least there's me, forever." This simple sentence pulled him from despair. They held each other in the dark, their most romantic film. With Muyong beside him, Guillaume finally slept peacefully. The next morning, he woke to find her there and felt his heart settle. Young-ho advised Guillaume not to rush through grief. His own mother had suffered watching him face multiple surgeries. Death doesn't destroy the dying, it destroys those left behind. Take time to heal. Muyong faced her own demons. Her film's investor threatened to pull out. She considered giving up, not wanting to follow her father's path of taking on debt for movies. Guillaume learned his brother used to drink at Hongi's bar, something he'd never known. Hongi reminded him that his brother had lived the life he chose. Now, Guillaume needed to live well for himself. Director Ma challenged her. She was young, and some stories could only be told at certain ages. Looking through her annotated script, Muyong remembered her father's words. Films are made because there are stories to tell. In the car, Muyong shared her deepest secret. As a child, she'd angrily told her father that if he didn't immediately quit filming to come home, she'd never believe him again. Her father had actually left the set to return home, but died in a car accident on the way. She'd always blamed herself for his death. Guillaume held her hand and shared his secret too. When he'd discovered his brother's suicidal thoughts, he'd pretended not to know, because he was afraid of pushing him away. Both realized life was harder and more painful than any movie, but they were ready to face it together. Guillaume brought flowers to Muyong's mother, promising not to overthink anymore and to share his burdens. Her mother revealed that Muyong's father had insisted on making films because he wanted his daughter to see a dad who never gave up. His death wasn't Muyong's fault. Sobbing in her mother's arms, Muyong's long-held guilt finally dissolved. She decided to solve her film's financial problems no matter what. Guillaume reconciled with the past by selling his precious videotapes to Jung-ho. Meanwhile, Hongi delivered excellent music for the film, and Yua found peace in their goodbye. Though Hong cried, Jua kissed him farewell. The past was beautiful. The future wouldn't be bad either. The once full room became empty, but the sunlight was beautiful. He dreamed of his brother, who hugged him warmly and listened to his promise to live happily. At the bus stop the next morning, Guillaume gave Muyong corn and said he'd sold all his tapes. He'd once wanted to watch every film in the world, but he now realized that real life, every moment, every scene, was worth chasing most. A year passed. Muyong's film was released successfully. Though not a box office hit, it received critical acclaim, marking her transition from commercial to art films. The background music by Hongi became even more popular than the film itself, finally launching his music career. Jua felt bittersweet that her script was outshone by Hongi's music, but she continued writing. Sometimes Hong saw her at the record shop, but he no longer chased after her. Young-ho moved in with Guillaume, and their group, including Muyong's mother and the store owner, became like a real family, gathering for parties. Guillaume followed Muyong to film sets, always by her side. When they weren't busy, he'd steal kisses in quiet corners. Perhaps films on screen were limited by genre, but the love story between Muyong and Guillaume had no classification, no limitation, no end. They'd learned that dreams were worth pursuing, love was worth fighting for, and life, messy, painful, beautiful life, was worth living fully. And that's Mellow Movie, a story about how we reconcile our dreams with reality, how we heal from loss, and how love gives us the strength to keep moving forward. It reminds us that while movies capture moments, real life creates the memories worth treasuring most. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing recaps. Until next time.